I'm 27 years old. Half of all greenhouse gas emissions ever generated by the entire history of human civilization have been released in my lifetime. This despite the now well-documented fact that 40 years ago, scientists at Exxon and Shell knew and reported to their bosses that burning fossil fuels was warming the planet and would destabilize the climate. Fossil fuel corporations, their executives, their trade and industry organizations, and their think tank front groups have waged a decades-long campaign of lying to the public about the science, and it has brought us to a crisis that threatens the entire human race. Now, I know that you signed the No Fossil Fuel Money Pledge, but I have to ask, how can we trust you to hold these corporations and executives accountable for their crimes against humanity when we know that tomorrow you are holding a high-dollar fundraiser hosted by Andrew Goldman, a fossil fuel executive?
He is not a fossil fuel executive, I'm told. He is not a fossil fuel executive.
If you're going to a fundraiser that's given in part by this guy who has a company that is pulling up natural gas, are you the right guy to go after these?
Well, I didn't realize he does that. I was told if you look at the SEC filings, he's not listed as one of those executives. That's what we look at, the SEC filings. Who are those executives? I've kept that pledge.
Joe Biden is being dubious here. And not just dubious. Either Joe Biden is senile or Joe Biden is lying. And I edge toward the sides in this particular situation. Joe Biden is just outright to the audience, open mouth, not telling the truth. He is giving you a technicality, but the technicality, even within the context of the technicality, is not really true when you actually look at it. Don't believe just me saying it's not true, that he's looking into the camera, telling the audience that hasn't broken his pledge. CBS News, mainstream media has even found this to be so onerous that they call out, despite Joe Biden's pledge, he is hauling in money from 2020 lobbyists that deal with oil and gas. Joe Biden entered the Democratic primary promising day one to reject campaign cash from lobbyists. I work for you, not an industry, he tweeted, yet hours his campaign kickoff, he went to a fundraiser in the home of a lobbying exec. And more to the point, Andrew Goldman, co-founder of Western LNG, a natural gas production company based in Houston, Texas, is co-hosting one of the two high-dollar fundraisers Biden will attend on Thursday, today. Day after, he's getting on TV saying that guy's not a lobbyist. That guy literally was a co-founder of Western LNG natural gas production. And the catch here is, even beyond breaking the pact of not taking that money, and breaking, at the very least, the spirit of the pact in not taking that money, meaning the political dodge of, well, technically he's not part of the SEC filings, even though when you look closer at it, he is part of the executive board. My point is this. Joe Biden is being dishonest when he is given the speech to the public, dodging this notion of a pact that he supposedly had accepted where he would not take fossil fuel money, while simultaneously going to a high-dollar fundraiser put on by essentially an executive of this particular this institution that these guys are not supposed to be taking money from. How can you, in any honest terms, buy Joe Biden's pitch that he is going to do something bold and active to deal with something that they consider, or at the very least they call, in an odd way, an existential threat? My point to you is Joe Biden is selling you out. And it goes beyond just him accepting money from the lobbyists. It goes into his close relationship with this particular company and the ties that that particular company have and the people that he's brought onto his staff that has associations with oil and gas. Let's delve in. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is Soapbox After Dark. Guys, if you dig this content, find yourself coming back here often, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you really dig it, please consider supporting through PayPal or Patreon. This content is brought to you by you, and I thank you for the opportunity. Joe Biden. In some respects, Joe Biden didn't know where he was. In some respects, Joe Biden didn't know Obama's name. In some cases, he has a mumbling, incoherent, rambling speech after the next from one campaign stump to the next. But in other cases, he just flagrantly lies. I mean, the story that he came out with was so flagrant that mainstream media even called out that all of the details of the story were wrong. And he bristles at the fact that he was being called out for lying. Even the old civil rights stuff, old lies. And right now, he is bristling at a question about, it seems you're breaking your pledge because you are essentially taking money from oil and gas lobbyists. Joe Biden bristles.
Period.
So are you going to look at that fundraiser tomorrow night?
I'm going to look at what you just told me and find out if that's accurate. Yes.
Okay.
I
think it's pretty accurate. Aaron.
Anderson Cooper even says it. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. What we just said, that guy's oil and gas, and you said you weren't going to take money from oil and gas, and yet you're going to a fundraiser put on by a guy who started a company in oil and gas. And Joe Biden is like, no, I didn't break my pledge at all. Let's go through it. The person in question. Andrew Goldman is co-founder of Western LNG, a natural gas production company based in Houston, Texas, is co-hosting one of two high-dollar fundraisers that Biden will attend. I need to make one more point. Donations. If you look at individual dollar donations, Biden donations are less than what Kamala Harris is getting. Understand what I am saying this. He's not getting a lot of money from people who are just regular human beings. He is, however, getting money from these high-dollar donations, meaning these type of donations become that much more important to Biden. He's never going to miss a fundraiser from somebody like this because he needs this guy to back him either in super PACs or directly in regards to his ties. He needs help. He needs assistance. He needs people with means to help him get into that office and help give him money in this case. Meaning the individual dollar donations that Sanders can rely on, Biden can't. This guy becomes that much more important. Andrew Goldman is co-founder of Western LNG, a natural gas production company based in Houston, Texas. Right. Goldman and Biden have deep ties. Goldman served as an advisor to Biden while he was in the Senate and was the Northeast Director of Finance for Biden's 2008 campaign. He is also an executive at the investment banking firm Hildred Capital Partners. He and his partners at the firm, David Solomon, along with the wives Renee and Sarah, will host a private fundraiser for Biden at the Solomon House, CNBC reported. Goldman also co-founded D. Cordova Goldman Capital Management, which invests in natural resources and energy. Here we are. Now, Biden sits there and bristles at the point that the audience member makes. How do we trust you in this particular situation where you're telling us all of this stuff about climate being an existential threat and everything else? These guys have financial ties in making sure the world stays exactly the way it is. And they've known for the past 60 years that what they were doing was destabilizing the habitable environment to which we live and exist. And they didn't care because ultimately they were making cash. Cash was their direct feedback in saying, okay, we're going to give you more means for something that you're doing, meaning the last thing they want to do is stop themselves from maximizing their profit. And this notion of climate, maybe not. Those scientists are trying to get in our way of making profit, so we need to attack the science. The strategy has changed, by the way. It's not directly attacking the science. It's more so, hey, we can have a role in helping stop existential threat of climate change. Yes, we were a large part of causing this, but we can now have a role in helping this. And so we can push this stuff back, 100 or so years? Yeah, 100 or so years. They're there to gum up the works, to stop progress. That's their goal. The point here that the audience member is making is you are literally going to a fundraiser for people who have a fiduciary interest in maintaining the system the way it is, or at the very least, slowing down progress and doing something about that you has just said in this debate is an existential threat, and not a debate, a forum. You're just talking. And Biden is bristling at the notion that this guy is some kind of lobbyist or this guy's some kind of executive and that he broke his pledge. Well, you broke your pledge, buddy. And the question stands and rings. How can you trust Biden in this situation? Mind you, he is lying on stage. Either he doesn't know what's going on in his campaign, which I highly doubt because he's close ties to this guy, or he's lying. And I suggest to you, he's lying. Even Anderson Cooper kind of makes the point that, look, everything that the guy, this audience member said was right. Here's the other part. Let's go further into this part. So, accepting funds from Goldman doesn't technically break Biden's number one fossil fuel money pledge since, again, this is a technicality, Goldman is not listed as an executive on the firm's SEC filings. But the company is privately owned and has never filed with the SEC. What Biden said on the debate stage, on that forum stage, was true. Well, I mean, the guy didn't have to file for the SEC, but that's because he didn't have to file for the SEC. It's a private company. But there's a loophole here that Biden is just trying to run through. Still, there's a problem. Reporter Neil Millichance unearthed the 2018 document filed by Thames with British Columbia Utilities Commission that lists Goldman as part of a seasoned team of executives with Western LNG. Goldman, who is also Chief Investment Officer at Hildreth Capital Partners, is a long-term investor in liquefied natural gas sector, according to the filings. Hildreth Capital Partners invests in companies in the pharmaceutical and energy industries, among others. Goldman's close business relationship with the former chief financial officer, Chenery Energy, has to also be scrutinized. And here's the other shoe to drop. Meaning, it's one thing for Biden to get up there and say, no, this guy's not some kind of executive or something. He is. Or no, he's not part of the SEC filings. Yes, that's technically true, but this is you trying to hit a technicality for somebody who is literally firmly in the camp of the oil and gas industry. And you're going to that thing tonight. You're being dishonest to that audience. Even though you may say something that may be technically true, ultimately it is dishonest to the audience that you're talking to. And I'm glad Anderson Cooper in that moment says, well, what the audience member said was true. Meaning what Biden said was not. Both things couldn't be true at once. Biden was being disingenuous. And let's go further. This energy company, Chenery. So Goldman's close business relationship with the former chief financial officer of Chenery has to be scrutinized. Thames made a huge amount of money in Chenery, including $31.8 million in 2012 and 2014 per SEC filings in 2015. When Biden entered the 2020 race, he picked Heather Zeickel, a former Obama official who made nearly $1.1 million as a member of Chenery's board of directors from 2014 to 2018 as his climate advisor. Zeickel nearly overlapped with Goldman at Chenery. Goldman left the company in March 2014, and Zeickel joined its board in June 2014. Meaning, it's not just that Biden is going through a fundraiser. It's also people who Biden is bringing on his team that has close relationships with oil and gas company and has vested interests in ensuring those industries persist themselves. How can we trust you when you have close ties and associations with a company and a industry that we are telling you that you need to regulate? Are you going to really be able to regulate something that is funding you in some respects, and in other cases where you have close political and business ties with? It's a fair question. It's a fair question. Who do you believe? Who do you believe? Joe Biden, or essentially the information about the people who he's bringing on to his team? Biden has a third connection to Chenery Energy. Former Chenery lobbyist and vice president Anik Desai was Biden's political director for 9 months in 2005. According to the archived version of the LinkedIn page, Desai was a vice president at Chenery from 2013 to 2017, meaning Zeickel was on the board for 3 of those years. In April 2012, when Zeickel was Obama's energy and climate advisor, Chenery Energy became the first company to obtain a permit from the administration to export liquefied natural gas. Zeickel met with Desai, then Chenery CEO, Sharif Surki, and another Chenery's executive in early 2013 before leaving and joining the Chenery's board. Desai and Zyko previously worked together on the former Senator John Kerry's 2004 presidential campaign. These people are dinosaurs. The point is somewhat straightforward, even though I know there's a lot of technical stuff, and I'll put the articles at the bottom. It's not just the connections from the standpoint of Joe Biden is breaking his pledge because he's going to a fundraiser by somebody who is firmly entrenched within the oil and gas industry. It is also the people who Joe Biden is bringing onto his team that also have deep connections with the oil and gas industry. This is kind of the issue here, meaning that when Joe Biden is standing here and is saying this, that while it may be technically true that the guy is not part of the SEC filings, the overarching thing is the guy is firmly within the camp of oil and gas. And as being firmly within the camp of oil and gas, even is a capitalist in real terms in the sense of investing in natural liquefied oil and gas. Either he's a lobbyist or he's working on the board of this particular firm. Both of those things just so happen to be true at once. And Joe Biden is having a fundraiser, going to a fundraiser by this guy. And when pointed out that you are going to a fundraiser by this particular guy, Joe Biden lies, dodges, obfuscates. He's not being honest here. Again, saying technical, the SEC filing stuff misses the entire point of that particular pledge of not taking money from lobbyists or not working in association with people who have fiduciary responsibilities to oil and gas, the same industry that all of us, everything that is taking place here is supposed to be talking about curtailing. Why did you trust Joe Biden on this particular issue when Joe Biden is sitting here being disingenuous? Let's hear him again.
Climate. Fossil fuel corporations, their executives, their trade and industry organizations, and their think tank front groups have waged a decades-long campaign of lying to the public about the science, and it has brought us to a crisis that threatens the entire human race. Now, I know that you signed the No Fossil Fuel Money Pledge, but I have to ask, how can we trust you to hold these corporations and executives accountable for their crimes against humanity when we know that tomorrow you are holding a high-dollar fundraiser hosted by Andrew Goldman, a fossil fuel executive?
He's not a fossil fuel executive.
He is a fossil fuel executive. He is literally a fossil fuel executive. And again, I'm putting the documents below so you can see it for yourself. But Joe Biden is trying to dodge on this. Joe Biden is close friends with this guy, meaning Joe Biden knows to some degree that this guy is some kind of executive of a fossil fuel company. Andrew Goldman, co-founder of Western LNG and natural gas production. And again, when you go into it, it's pretty straightforward. It even says it. Reporter Naomi LaChance unearthed 2018 documents filed by Thames with the British Columbia Utilities Commission that lists Goldman as part of a seasoned team of executives of Western LNG. Biden is not being honest with you. That's the only point in this video. Just literally pointing out that what just took place there on national television was Joe Biden not being honest, lying on this issue, just like he's lying on the Iraq war vote issue, just like he's lying on the soldier issue. I mean, is this really what you want as a president that is essentially owned by these industries and is selling you out? He's selling you out. I'll leave it here. I don't want to belabor the point. Like, share, subscribe. Articles are below. Read them for yourself. They go into pretty decent detail.